Round here, them guns get the last word.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I have a bunch of different topics and things that I just found, and I kind of want to just talk about all of these in one video. Some are updates, some is news, some is polls, some is just memes, but we're going to be breaking it all down and just talking about everything. The first thing that I want to talk about, this one is kind of news. This one is exciting. IFC Tekken is coming back April 6th. Time to dust off the gloves and step back into the ring.
Oh my god!
What are you gonna do, low parry? Is this the round?
Nice!
Wait, what happened there?
Ever since the pandemic happened, Rip's kind of stepped up to the plate and was hosting these weekly, bi-weekly tournaments. Like it filled the void basically. Tournaments completely disappeared. And Rip stepped up to the plate, you know, give the community something to watch and enjoy. There was many videos over the past year or so where I showed whether it was a snippet, a short clip, it was a combo, it was something funny that the commentator said. This is just exciting to see that he's continuing it, he's keeping it going. Well, let's move on to the next thing. So I was watching one of Main Man Sui's video. I do have to say, Main Man Sui is back. I don't know what he's been doing, but he hasn't really been making videos for Tekken. He only been uploading like 30-40 minute Tekken matches, but the past like 2-3 weeks he's been on fire, dropping heat, and I do appreciate him coming back and breaking down certain aspects, because I'm more of a commentary discussion type of channel, but he also analyzes like characters and frames, and he kind of has like modders who help him and give him old versions of characters and things like that. So I don't know, I just think what Main Man Sui's doing right now, this is like my favorite content from him, is when he's talking about balancing and game design, and he's going back and looking at this character and that character. I just really appreciate it. But I was watching one of his videos and there was one thing that he said, and I went to sort of try and find the evidence, and I couldn't. During the roundtable, they did say that Tekken 7 has sold more copies than Tekken 3. Tekken 7 is now the undisputed most popular Tekken, most sold Tekken ever. It's hard to say right now, but I don't think Tekken 8 will top Tekken 7's success. Now, quote me on that. We'll look at this video 6 years from now and see if Tekken 8 actually does, but I don't think it is. Tekken 7 is just, it's godlike how this game is continuing to grow. It's now sold more copies than Tekken 3. But I was watching Main Man Sui's video, and he said Tekken 7 has reached 9 million copies.
It's like Tekken's doing super well. Tekken 7 really is the golden age of Tekken. This has surpassed Tekken 3 in base game sales. Tekken 3 was 8.5 million. Tekken 7 is at 9 million. It will probably hit the 10.
I did some research to try and find maybe a screenshot, artwork, a tweet from Harada or something, but I was not able to actually verify that it hit 9 million. I'm not saying that it didn't, but I'm just saying they haven't officially said that. They only said that it's more than Tekken 3. And I believe Tekken 3 was 8,200,000 copies, so we know it's somewhere in that ballpark. But let's move on. Dang, Lily looks sick in the second trailer of the Tekken Bloodline upcoming anime. Now, of course, this is just like a fan art. This is like a mock-up. There is no second trailer just yet. But when I seen this, I was thinking two things. One, of course, out of all the characters to be turned into sort of fan art, it's Lily. The second thing that this made me think about is, what other characters will they put in the story? Them putting Leroy Smith really makes us feel like any character to show up. I don't think they're going to put Lily or Asuka, stuff like that, because those characters are like, in Tekken 7 right now, they're like 16, 17. So if you go back 20 years ago, they wouldn't even be born. But that doesn't mean characters like Wang or Beck, like characters who was alive during that era, they can show up and they can be a part of it. The next thing that I want to talk about, this is a monthly poll. I covered the first one and the second one already. Which Tekken Classic stage do you want to see in the future? Last month I made the first poll. The winners were Moonlight Wilderness for poll 1 an airport for Pole 2. So this kind of just gives a summary of the past. 292 votes, 17 votes Koito, that's Tekken 1. 25 votes Morning Fields, that's Tekken 2. 46 votes Tiger Dojo Tokyo, Tekken 3. 117 votes the winner, Maul from Tekken 4. 78 votes Secret Garden from Tekken 5. And then Rustic Asia, Tekken 6, 9 votes. When people talk about stages they want to return, the mall, the airport, and Moonlight Wilderness are the obvious 3 people will pick. I'm interested to see what the next polls are going to be, because these first 3 was kind of predictable, but I do want to see, because here's the thing. In Tekken 8, they're going to do DLC. I don't want them to just completely remaster a bunch of stages and put that into the game, but I do want to see maybe 1 or 2 old legacy stages, whether it's remastered or it's revamped or they change some things, different elements. Like, I think they can very easily take that mall stage from Tekken 4 and just do it bigger and better, right? Tekken 4 was made like 20 years ago or something like that. Now there's so many crazy and like unique malls all around the world, and they can take some of those as inspiration for their game. One thing that I think of that comes to mind, I don't know if you guys seen the Loki series on Disney Plus, but the TVA, that is a actual mall, I believe, in Atlanta, but they just added Photoshop and they, tweaked it so it looks like a futuristic, time base, right? But that is a mall in Atlanta. And I think Tekken could do the exact same thing. They could take a mall in Japan, in China, in Tokyo, in somewhere, and then just tweak it a little bit. Maybe add some Heihachi statues or Kazuya statues or something, and then boom, spice it up. But yeah, let's move on. This screenshot here, I just saw this and it was the funniest thing to me. It says blinding white Bandai Namco logo, closest thing to sunlight Elden Ring's players have seen in weeks. And that Bandai Namco logo is truly like blinding. I wonder, it's going to be very interesting to see the actual logo shift. The logo officially changes on April 1st, so to see them putting that in trailers, to see them putting that on the game when it first opens, it's going to take some time to getting used to. What is the most frustrating aspect of Tekken 7? 1,580 votes on this. The first one, losing to knowledge checks, 488 votes. Now, I would say, before even reading the other ones, I would say this is probably the biggest thing that I hate about Tekken 7. Like, there's certain characters in the game where you would lose just because you didn't know something was possible, or just because you didn't know they had, like, for example, characters with throws that wall splat. I think that is the most annoying thing ever. I hope in Tekken 8 they have less knowledge checks. I do get that knowledge checks is a part of Tekken, but I don't want it to be like a crutch. When something becomes a crutch, that's when it starts to change. The second one says, losing the characters you find overtuned. Now, this one isn't really a problem. Even though I talk a lot about broken DLC characters, the ones that really give me a problem, the ones that are truly difficult, like kind of unstoppable, is Fahkumram, Lita, Kunimitsu. I would kind of say those 3. Yes, I say, Zafina, Ganryu, Leroy, and all those other characters are powerful as well. But for Fahkumram, Lita, and Kunimitsu, those 3 characters, they're so powerful to where they can even shut down Yoshimitsu, who's a character who can slip out and, he can spin and do all these. Those characters can even lock him down. So I can only imagine a character who has even worse defensive options than Yoshi, how they get landslided. The third one says, not being able to lab DLC characters, paywall, 313 votes. Now, my explanation for this was, if they allow people to lab characters in practice mode, what a lot of people would do, me myself, I said this about GTA in the past, but when GTA, they add a new car, they add a new bike, what I would do is go into single player, buy that car in single player where I have billions of dollars and then drive it around and see if I want to buy it or not. And sometimes I would be like, nope, not buying it. And I would switch back to online and I would not buy it. And you have to think it would be the same thing for DLC. I know I would do the same thing if you were able to take control of the character in practice mode. You would have a lot of people just testing them out, seeing if they want to buy it or not. Now, I don't agree with you not being able to lab against that character at all. I think maybe punishment training, maybe you can have the computer fight and you can practice against. There should be something there. You shouldn't be able to control the character because, like I said, you will just take it for a test drive. But I also think for these characters to be as powerful as they are, you should be able to lab them in some way, whether it's punishment training, whether you just click on the move and then you say you want them to repeat this move over and over and over, then that. But it's give or take. The Tekken developers just have to see. We just have to ask for them to do that. There's never been a large portion of the community who yelled for them to do that, who demanded, right? Too much random evasion on some moves. This is just Tekken overall. IMOP did a video like a year ago. Mids do not exist, I think is what OP named it. And it's true, like mids just don't exist, and it's something that I just came to understand. It's something that I just accepted with Tekken 7. And you kind of, here's the thing too, once you learn which moves have random evasion, you can use that against your opponent. You can understand, like Lily. Lily is a character who does this a lot, but once you know that and when you understand when and how and who, it's much more easier to defeat. Right, it's kind of just like labbing the character. Once you learn what that character is capable of, then you're aware. Let's move on. 129 votes. Comeback mechanics are too strong. I don't think this is going to go away. This is another thing I just accepted. In Tekken 8, the comeback mechanics will be there as well because first off, it's hype. Seeing someone have that magic pixel and then come back, super hype. But also, this decreases the skill gap. It's less likely for beginners to get blown out when they have a rage art that do half your health, a rage drive half your health, and then that puts you at the wall with some broken Oki, and it's all ties in. But I just accepted it. What I thought was interesting though, it says loading screens, 41 upvotes. Pushing gameplay aside, I think loading screens definitely is the most frustrating thing about Tekken. There's some times where I don't play Tekken 7 because I don't want to deal with the loading screens. Under that, by far no instant rematch. You spend more time not playing the game than you do. If I had to pick something on the list, I guess it would be random evasion. Two things they need to make sure they do in Tekken 8. Forget all the balancing, forget all the nerfing, the buffing. They need to make sure the load times is seamless. That's something that the new consoles specialize in, seamless loading screens, and then also instant rematching. If you decide to rematch, it should immediately take you to the character's intros, right? And that's it for this video. A lot of topics, a lot of different things that I bounced between. Hopefully you guys found this entertaining, informative, but that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.